Good day, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, however you want to say it. Happy Saturday, folks. Hi, I want to go over a couple things that have come out this week. I think everybody has been watching the news fairly tightly here lately, especially with all the tensions overseas. It's my kitty cat coming to say hi. It's not looking good. So, a lot of the prepper channels are coming out and they're talking about preparing for nuclear war. Yeah, you need to do that, but you need to also be aware of other changes which are also going on that a lot of people aren't talking about who aren't involved in those situations. Up in Alaska, they have closed the snow crab harvest this year because they're saying that there's not enough crabs being born, or the younger crabs are not reaching adulthood. This is last year I believe they limited it. This year they have completely closed the harvest season in the Bering Sea. That's going to negatively impact all of those Alaskan crew members who, they definitely depend on that for uh, their winter season. I mean, yeah, they can go and they can harvest other things and they can do other things, but it's not going to pay as well. And so that's going to negatively impact those families involved in that, and we need to keep them in our prayers. Secondarily to that, certain countries have begun limiting the amount of oil they are exporting, specifically here to the U.S. So that's going to negatively impact our price at the pump. And some of you have already seen that the fuel prices have started creeping back up. Please be aware of that as we head into winter, and be prepared to pay higher prices, not only at the pump, but also if you are heating with oil or propane. That price is going to definitely go up. It's already creeping up now. I would highly recommend, if you're like me and you're on electric heat, I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you get a secondary heat source. Appalachian Homestead with Patera did a persimmon tree prediction, and it's all showing spoons, which means it's going to be a heavy snow winter. Because you have the spoons and the persimmons, and that means you're going to be shoveling, right? So be aware of that, prepare for that. I would highly recommend that you have at least 2 weeks of food on hand in the house that does not require refrigeration, and that you can cook on a small, like a little small propane stove, or on a barbecue on the back porch. I would highly recommend that you have that. I have a feeling that with the supply chain as stretched as it is, and getting even more stretched by the day, that trying to get electrical transformers to repair electric lines is going to be a problem. Of course, we're still recovering from Hurricane that hit down in Fort Myers, Florida. Please pray for those folks. A lot of those people will not recover from this. A lot of the home insurance that's down there does not include hurricanes. It doesn't include flood. A lot of, especially in Fort Myers, I mean, they very rarely get that kind of hurricane and flooding that they got. So a lot of their homeowners insurance is not going to be covered by this. And this is going to tax homeowners insurance. So for those of us who live on the coastlines, just expect that price is going to go up all along the coastlines. Okay, just expect that. Okay, I'm seeing that homeowners insurance is going to increase just because of the amount that the insurance company is going to have to put out. I'm also hearing reports from Autumn's Backyard Garden that certain HOAs are asking people to limit their electrical use so that people in the HOA can charge their electric vehicle. Can't believe I just said that, but yes, that's was one report from one HOA. Be aware that could happen, and that we're already seeing, like out in Colorado and New Mexico, where they have the smart thermostats, where the electric companies went in and locked the thermostats over the summer. I'm pretty sure they'll probably do that again over the winter to limit the amount of electricity that you can use. So, be aware of that. Take your own precautions. If you're like me, you have your gas generator, which will run pretty much everything in your house as a backup generator, but you also have a small solar generator if you need to use that. Prices at the grocery store are beginning to, for some items, double in price. I do not believe the feds when they say that we're only under an 8 to 9% inflation rate. I'm sorry, I've seen some things at the grocery store that are at, in my opinion, a 50% inflation rate. Add into that we still have what we like to call shrinkflation going on, where they're doing tricks that they're saying, okay, the box looks like a 16-ounce box, but in fine print, they're putting that 16-ounce box now only has 10 ounces in it. Yeah, they're doing that now. So please read your boxes. Also, if you were buying food, please be aware that there has been issues with certain foods and their country of origin, that the food is already spoiled. Now, this could be because of the fact that they've been sitting out in container ships for 6 months, or it could be that, the grocery store owners are pulling stuff out of back stock, and they're just getting what they can get to put on the shelves, okay? Don't get mad at your local grocery store people, okay? It's not their fault. This is what's coming in off the trucks. Don't get mad at the truckers either. We're just hauling, and I am a trucker. We're just hauling what we're given, okay? This is a supply chain issue, and this is what happens when certain aspects of the supply chain start to break down. If you do not have oil for your vehicle, or your new tires on your vehicle for, like in Alaska, you got to switch tires to winter tires. You should have already done that if you live there. You need to do that now. You need to try and somehow or another get those repairs done before Christmas. Now, I also watched Paul Begley Prophecy. And I watched this last Thursday night with Mike from Around the World. There were a lot of information that he put out that was extremely disturbing. I say that because it reflects that the world is dropping into chaos, and we need to right now be holding on to each other and be holding on to our Lord as tightly as we can. If you do not have a group yet, you need to be doing that immediately. Okay? If you haven't started stockpiling yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. Okay? I will tell you that reports out of California, they are having very poor harvest. Out of Texas, a lot of the cattle farmers are having to cull their herds because they can't get good hay to feed their herds. And sometimes some of the hay that they're getting is actually sickening the cattle because it's covered in pesticides and chemicals, and it's just not good hay. So if you have animals and you are buying hay and grain, please check that hay and grain to make sure you're getting it from reliable sources. As always, try and buy your stuff local if you can. Support those local farmers. But if you have to order, try and order from reputable companies. Unfortunately, I have heard from some co-workers of mine that they ordered some stuff and it came in and it was full of pest and plastic and various other items just for weight, and the nutritional value was zero. They took a loss on that because they had to throw it away because they couldn't feed it to their pigs. So that's pretty bad when you can't feed it to pigs. Yeah, so this is what we're moving into now. Suspicious Observer did put out a video this morning about some remarkable information about what the sun is doing. I really highly recommend that you go over and watch that video. Very fascinating information there. I could keep dropping names, but I just want you to know that some of us do watch all these channels, and we do try and bring you information that's a combination of all of these channels who are digging into this, and who in the prepper community, they are putting forth this information. And so I'm just another voice telling you, get ready for a bad winter. I'm seeing some of the birds and the squirrels fighting over stuff, which I've never seen that happen before. I'm already seeing a decrease in the amount of bees and insects, which means that any day now we're going to have our first frost here on the East Coast. So be aware of that. I'm starting to hear reports of bears, yes, black bears, coming into the edges of towns and rummaging through trash cans, and same thing with coyotes. Coyotes have actually been seen in downtown Norfolk, Virginia, okay? That's very unusual. One of the guys that I used to work with by the name of Tony told me that he saw a coyote at about 4 o'clock in the morning run across the road in Norfolk with someone's pet cat. So I will highly recommend that if you have young ones or small animals, that you don't just let them out if it's still dark out. That you go out and you make sure that the yard is clear. Coyotes can jump a 6 to 8 foot fence easily. The worst thing in the world is for you to let your little Dachshund out or your cat out and coyote get them. Uh, even worse would be if you have a toddler and you take that toddler out and the phone rings and you run inside to grab your cell phone off the counter and the toddler gets badly injured or even killed because the coyote sees an easy meal. You, I cannot, as a hunter, I cannot tell you how big of a danger that is. Down here in northeast North Carolina, where I do live, we have seen coyotes starting to pack together like wolves. That's a very dangerous thing. It could be just for breeding season, but this late in the year, we normally don't see them running together like that. So we're seeing, I saw a pack of about 20 that were running together. That's very unusual. So we're starting to see some unusual things from the animals. It could be because of the increased solar going on, along with the decrease in the magnetic field that we have. Now, going along with the magnetic field, I'm going to go down another hole. Some people have been saying that there's a possibility that we will have a pole shift or flip within the next 6 months to 1 year. If that happens, it's going to throw a lot of things out of whack, okay? And that could be why the animals are acting so weird. Maybe they sense it coming. I don't know. But just be aware that these things are going on and be safe, okay? If you are near a military base, like I live pretty close to Norfolk Naval, try and get yourself some nuclear, biological, chemical gear. So if something does go off, you're covered that way. Of course, potassium iodide pills. Try and have those. Try to get up with Jace Medical and get your antibiotics for your family. I highly recommend that you do that. As a prepper, I know that a lot of us use the fish antibiotics, but if you can get the human antibiotics, that's a lot better for you. And fish antibiotics, I cannot recommend. Okay, it could have trash in there as far as you know. Okay. That being said, if you do take medications, try and see if your doctor will give you a 90-day or 6-month supply. We are starting to see, specifically with blood pressure meds, that certain blood pressure meds are in high demand and are in low stock. That means that you could go to the pharmacy and the pharmacy tell you they can't fill your prescription for 2 to 3 weeks. Not saying that you're not going to get your prescription. I'm saying that you might have a delay. So try and see if your doctor will give you a 90-day or a 6-month prescription. A lot of times, if it's just like for blood medication, blood pressure medication, or diabetes medication, a lot of times they can do that. They can write a 90-day prescription. So try and do that and have that on hand. That is the worst thing in the world, is to run out of your life-sustaining medications and have to go to the ER, which could put you in jeopardy of picking up some other kind of disease while you're there, or not being able to even get your medications, or if you do get your medications, having to pay 5 times the cost. So, try and do your due diligence there. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of half asleep, but if you have chickens, please be aware. I have heard of people now, especially near some of the bigger cities like New York and Chicago, that some of these people are going into backyards that have small flocks and they are stealing chickens and eggs. Yes, it's starting to happen. If you can, please make sure your birds are locked up and that you have some kind of security camera or system available to keep an eye on them if you're not going to be home. And I hate to say that, but we are there, folks. If you haven't already, try and save some of your seeds off of your gardens, because I'm assuming that you all have little small gardens. If you don't have gardens, I'm assuming that you are going to at least attempt something inside the house with grow lights to try and keep something growing. I would say that we're heading into a Great Depression. I would say that if you have family and friends, to try and work together to sustain your community. But in all honesty, try also to be a little bit of a unseen prepper. So if you go to the store, don't buy all your preps in one store. Buy a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit over there. Okay? You don't want to wake up in the middle of the night and be robbed for what you spent your good money on. Okay? And that's what I wanted to tell you this Saturday. As you can tell from my voice, I could say a lot more, but I'm going to leave it with what I can verify and what I got from verified sources, that's what's going on. Some of the other information which I've got is very disturbing, but I can't verify it, so I'm not going to mention it now. Yeah, that's what's going on. Be prepared, be aware, and take everything, focus on one thing at a time. Don't get overly stressed out about things. If all you can afford is to put a little bit of extra food away, do that. If all you can afford is to get a secondary heating source, do that. If all you can do is buy 1 or 2 blankets, okay, or crochet 1 or 2 blankets, hey, do that, okay. And don't forget about your pets. Try and have extra food on hand for any of your pets. A lot of people forget them. Especially this time of the year, a lot of your homeless shelters get overrun with people, and a lot of your animal shelters get overrun with animals. So if you can donate to your animal shelters and your homeless shelters, do that. Try and help out your community. Don't be one of these people that just sits and stacks stuff to the roof for you, and you don't think about, your extended family or your neighbors or your pets or your local church family. Try and be a good person and help others out. And if all you can do is buy 1 can of food for that neighbor across the street who is 70 years old, who can't get to the store themselves, and has been relying on the local food delivery, but now all of a sudden that local food delivery, they're only bringing food 3 times a week. You know what's going on in your neighborhood, you know. Um, Reach these people. There's a lot of people hurting right now. There's a lot of people who've lost their jobs, who are about to lose their home because they're getting kicked out because the rents have gone up so high. Okay? I'm not saying take these people in, but I'm saying, if you know places they can go, give them that information. I mean, that's not going to cost you anything. Just stop and tell them the information about a homeless shelter that you know about, or a shelter for women with children, or a local church that actually has a food pantry that they can go to, or to give them a phone number for a senior center that can come out and check on these people and help them to get to like the grocery store or something. Uh, this is just common. This is just being a common citizen, okay? And we need to do that, okay? Because in my neighborhood alone, there's a lot of people that may lose their rentals this month, right before Christmas, because the rents have gone up so high. So be aware of that, and try and do what you can do, okay? But don't just do for you. Yes, you're important. Your family's important, and that should be your number one priority. But your number two priority should be your community and your church and the people that live around you. Because if you take care of the people around you, if we do go to war, these people around you are who are going to help protect you. And so that's what I had for you today. And I'm going to let y'all go now because I got to go out and I got to let my chickens out for a little bit and let them run around the yard and get them fed and watered for the night, and double check to make sure they haven't rebroke their perch in their run, because they broke it yesterday. I had to replace it. And yeah, that's what I got for you today. So with that, I'm gonna let y'all go. Bicycle.